Welcome to this edition of Jump Around Monday, February 1st. We're coming off a match in Nebraska. We got home yesterday after the match. And you know what? We saw a lot of great things last night. A lot of unproven guys doing some great things, for us. And I love what this team brings. We've been at it barely a month with these guys, and I just love the fight that we took to the number 7 team in the country, and we almost pulled it out. Ethan Rotundo. I got a lot of questions about my decision. Very, very surprised. Actually, I love it that the fans are so involved about wrestling Ethan Rotundo after Eric Barnett had a big pin at the number 2 guy in the country. We're still trying to figure out that weight class. Who the guy is. Ethan Rotundo has made such a jump in our room that we don't know who the guy is. And I made a decision, a couple weeks ago that they both were going to get a chance against ranked wrestlers. And then we'd see where we are afterward. And of course, we're going to hold true to our word, even though that Ethan pinned the number 2 guy in the country a couple weeks ago. We let Ethan go out there and he did a great job. In our eyes, he should have won the match, made a little mistake at the end. But again, it was great. We got 2 great 25-pounders there. And, it's making our decision tough on who it's going to be. So very, very excited there. Kyle Berwick with a great win, and then, Drew Scharenbrock with a gritty win against a ranked guy. I think he was ranked 16th in the country. And then we let Garrett Mahler go out there and pin that guy, and it was great. But again, I think the match of the night was Chris Weiler upsetting All-American, the Benz kid, who was very, very tough, got down early. And Chris Weiler showed the toughness and the grit that our teams, that the Wisconsin teams are all about. We're never out of a match. Our conditioning is great. We train too hard. And he just proved that with a great comeback, come from behind win and pulled it out at the end there. I think it was 10-9 or 11-10. And then we fell short a little bit at the end there. We got to get Trent Hilger back rolling again. Not a big problem. He's a talented super kid, and he'll be ready to roll. So it was a great trip, and I'm very happy with our effort, and the guys did a great job. And then we find out kind of in the middle of our match that we're going to have a match against Penn State tomorrow. We've been trying to reschedule it. We're supposed to wrestle them Saturday at Michigan, and that got canceled and all that. And we've been going back and forth all week about where we're going to do it, who's going to host it. And I want to say we got lucky enough. There was a huge snowstorm in Chicago that Penn State couldn't fly out yesterday, and they were gracious enough to drive on up here yesterday, and we're going to figure out how to wrestle Tuesday. So short turnaround, but you know what? It's a lesson for these guys. I love it, right? We didn't know we were wrestling these guys. We didn't do our film study, 3 days in advance. We haven't been preparing for them in the room. So it is awesome that we get to pack a week's worth of work here in the next, day. Really today we're going to be, watching the film and getting these guys ready and getting their weight back down. And, it's what we want. It's a little adversity, but it's something that we can overcome. And, Penn State brings that great team in here, and then, they're still the defending champs, and, we'll get a chance to try to beat the defending champs in our own place. So very, very excited for that. And, we're, ready to roll Tuesday in the field house. I think it starts at 4 p.m. Central, and we'll be ready to go. So, I didn't think there'd be much to talk about this week, but honestly, there's too much to talk about. So, fans, stay behind us. I think you're going to see, we're in year 3. And I think last night you saw what our team's all about. The improvement, the development of Ethan Rotundo is huge. You see the improvement and development of Garrett Model. Jared Craddock wrestled tough. You see what we're doing with Chris Weiler. So Drew Scharenbrock. That's what you're going to see here in the course of our careers, the development of these athletes and the grittiness and toughness that we're going to bring. So I'm excited for this team and see where it goes. And we're staying safe, and everybody's doing a great job of being in their bubble. And let's just hope we can stay that way for another couple of weeks and get through the NCAA tournament. So. Again, we appreciate your support. Keep tuning in to Big Ten Network Plus, watching us on there. I wish we could have you in the field house, but it's a very, very in a short time. Hopefully we get you guys back in there. And so enjoy your week. Start it off right and jump around.